My name is Andy Westmoreland, and I am the 18th president of Samford University.
Hello, my name is Lauren Doss, and I am the director of the Global Engagement Office.
My name is Jenée Spencer, and I have the honor of serving as the Director of Diversity, Education, and Development for the Office of Diversity and Intercultural Initiatives at Samford University.
Well, my wife would say that I've had a whole lot of cultural misunderstandings over the years, and so finding just perhaps one way that I have fallen short culturally would be a challenge. But I think that where I have had personal lapses in cultural understanding, as I have interacted with people in their home countries and not in mine, I think that all falls into the broad category of me doing the Western thing of rushing and pushing. And this has been especially true, I think, in many countries in Asia where I've visited, where I've been very conscious of the time and the schedule and wanting to push things along. And I have come to understand that my hosts were always wanting to take appropriate time and to help me to understand the very best things about their culture. And by being impatient, I was disrespecting them. And that is something that I think a lot of people from the West tend to do. So I hope that I've learned from that over the years. My wife would say I have not learned enough, but I think that's one really important lesson that I've learned.
I have had a lot of cultural misunderstandings, but perhaps the one that comes to mind, which is relevant in this job, is when we were working on the Daniel House renovation. Obviously, our contracting team and the team we were working with were all British, and obviously they use a metric system, and the way that they would run a renovation, it was not completely different, but different enough. And even though we both speak English, British English is quite different than American English, and so I was always having to say, okay, can you define that for me? Or are we talking about the same thing? Because I think we're talking about this, but maybe we're talking, I don't know what a skid is or whatever. So I think, and just the way that a British business ran versus how an American business ran, with our projects, we are like, work 24/7 and get it done no matter what the deadline, like you meet the deadline. Americans are just very harsh in that way, and we like to say productive, but that is definitely not the British way. And so that was a big challenge, and to have to work within those parameters of saying, okay, we're Americans and this is how we want this project done, but we're working with British companies and in a British environment. So obviously their rules and regulations were different than ours, and how can we work together to get the best outcomes? There were several things that happened within that scenario or within that experience that caused cultural misunderstanding, but we made it. So we can work through it, right?
One cultural misunderstanding that I think I have that was actually pretty interesting was from my own culture. As a Black American, I was kind of taught that slang was a really bad thing and that it was unprofessional. But I've recently learned more about African American vernacular English, and that it actually has rules to it, and that it's kind of a language that Black Americans have come together and put together without even realizing it, without intention. And so I think it's a really amazing thing that my community boasts, and I'm really proud to be able to code switch and not only speak properly and professionally, but be able to tap into the richness of my culture as well, and also have mastered African American vernacular English.